Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Shout out to Timeless, cut a check. All right, so just like most other days, I ain't got a lot of time. I ain't gonna spend too much time with this. We're gonna take about 15, 20 minutes to kind of go over everything. We're gonna give it a couple minutes. Good morning. Just as a reminder, if you do want to contribute, I don't even know if you can see this shit. I really got to step my shit up. Like I got the money to get the graphic design. I'll just be lazy as fuck. If you do want to contribute to, the nonprofit $ building back, we actually have three families that we are getting gifts for. We're gonna be raising funds between now and this weekend. So if y'all do want to donate, once again, I'd rather you just donate towards this because once again, I don't want y'all money. I don't need y'all money. Um, I'm doing all right for myself. So I just want to make sure that if y'all want to contribute, it's going towards something that can actually be appreciated. Not to say I wouldn't appreciate y'all giving the shit to me, but I'm not doing this for money at this point in time from y'all. If I ever do make money from this, it'll be from a sponsor. So I'm not gonna have y'all pay me to learn something. Shout out to Yoshi, man. Yoshi asked me this whole silly ass question last week. Like, I don't understand why you give this information out. Like, why the fuck not? It's not a big deal. It's not like I have to charge you guys for a class. So, um, but just make sure once y'all get the information, man. I think the most important thing is y'all niggas don't get greedy with it either. You know what I'm saying? Spread the wealth, man. Knowledge is wealth, and for too long, the people in our culture, whether it's black or just anybody in our culture, um, we spend too much time trying to be greedy about shit like this. It's not that serious, man. You get that information, you spread it out to the next man. So once again, $ building back. You guys want to contribute? Make sure you guys give towards that. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. Like I said, we're gonna get straight into it. If a motherfucker get on late, that's they bad. I told they asked what time to start. So as you guys can see, the market's actually doing pretty good today. It's weird because I know last time when we spoke Thursday, one of the stocks that I had recommended was Pfizer, and I still stand by Pfizer as well as Moderna. Since we spoke then, Pfizer actually became approved by the FDA. When we had talked on Thursday, we had spoke about the fact that they were actually in the meeting at that time with the FDA trying to get the shit approved. It got approved. The market is going up because of the vaccines, but the vaccine stocks are down. It's weird, but it makes sense if you think about it because who really trusts this first vaccine? Like, once again, we spoke about this before. I don't know too many people that's actually going to get that first shot. In reality, I've seen on the news that 100 million people are going to be able to get access to this by June. So obviously, between now and then, there's going to be a lot of modifications being made. You just wouldn't really expect the stock to shoot up right now because there's still a lot of skepticism in terms of stocks, especially when you see people post these old stupid ass memes up of people looking like they got Bell's palsy, which it was reported that three people in testing did have Bell's palsy, but that was out of hundreds of thousands of testing. So, it's going to happen, no matter what. So, it's still a stock that I would look into. Moderna is actually in the process of making their shit pass through FDA this week. More than likely, that will pass through as well. But once again, both of those stocks are down today, which actually can be a benefit. Obviously, when it goes down, that means you can get them for the low. I don't know what the upside of these stocks are, but that you will win. I mean, if you go to websites like Robinhood or some of these other stocks, they'll tell you that these are good stocks to invest into and hold into. But the real profit from that is going to come in 2021. So, just do your research. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm not telling you not to buy it. But I am telling you that those are the two vaccine companies that look like will be the main providers of the corona vaccine. So obviously, that means hundreds of billions of dollars will be made by this company just next year. So it might make sense for you to invest in something that could have that potential in terms of earning. So that's one thing. The vaccines. Apple's looking like a really good stock right now. I've told you guys repeatedly look into Apple. Um, at this point in time, even despite the stock split, it's still a low price. In reality, as I said before, if they hadn't have done the stock splits that they did with Apple, it would be at $28,000 a share right now. So they've done like 5 or 6 share splits because they don't want the number to scare people off. So this 125 that it's at right now, I would definitely recommend getting into it. I personally have over 300 stocks in Apple alone. So when a shit shoot up $4 or $5 for a nigga like me, it's a win. But I think it's something that you guys should still look into. That's one of the stocks doing better. Yeah, and in terms of stimulus, I don't know how much you guys are really on that shit right now, but they're in meetings right now trying to come to some type of solution, man, because um, it's gonna be a lot of fucked up people if they don't cut that check before Christmas time. So, I do believe that they're gonna come to some type of agreement before Christmas. Obviously, as that goes through, the stocks are gonna go up because niggas don't know how to save shit. When they get the check, they're gonna spend the check, and if they spend, it is a good thing for the market. So, you know, um, just keep an eye on that, guys. Just make sure you keep an eye on that. Trez, what's up, my brother? How you doing? It's good to see you. Good to see you. So I did want to get into the domain name thing today because I had briefly spoke about this on Twitter maybe like a month or so ago, and it got a lot of reaction. Um, I got so many questions for it. It was just hard to be able to sit down and answer every single question about the domain names. But I did want to get into that because now I finally have a platform where we can talk on a day-to-day basis to where I can tell you things as they progress in like real time. So for the people who didn't see my tweet month or so ago, domain names, that's a really, really good investment to get into. I actually just dropped a podcast today. Check that out if you want to. It's with one of the top Cane Corso breeders. And we had actually spoke specifically about the fact that he couldn't get a specific website because somebody actually bought the domain name he was looking for and they was trying to sell it to him for like $3,200. They probably didn't sell it to him, but trust me when I say that shit got sold. So I know a lot of people wonder, like, how do people come with these numbers where you actually know what the actual domain name is worth? Because at the end of the day, the last thing you niggas want to do is buy a domain name that you're not going to be able to get off. You know what I'm saying? So there's a couple websites that I want you guys to check out to where you can first off just get an idea of how you can evaluate the value of a domain name. And you can Google this yourself. It's basically just Googling domain name appraisal. But GoDaddy is obviously the one that everybody knows about. That's a decent one. But in terms of the better ones for appraisals, Flippa, Flippa, and Cedo, Sedo. These are some of the best websites that'll give you the best evaluation of a domain name. These websites, man, it's a lot of weight that comes with websites, and how they actually evaluate websites is first off traffic. Like how many people are actually Googling or typing in this particular domain name. Then they're looking at how many times that domain name actually is getting clicked on, how many times people are actually just going to that page, whether it has anything on it or not. People might still go to this domain name. Just as an example, I actually bought goodrestaurants.com. I want to say like a year ago, and originally I was going to keep it as a directory because there's a few different ways you can actually make money once you buy a domain name. You can either buy it and then flip it immediately, where you can put it on GoDaddy or any of these other websites and flip it immediately, or you can slow grind it by adding on display ads through Google. And when I say display ads through Google, I'm sure there's been times where you guys have gone to clothing websites or different websites, and when you scroll down, you might have seen a picture of something that you may have looked up on another website before. Those are display ads. Like those come from Google display ads. Those companies have a contract with Google where they're essentially um, paying for their ad space to be placed on, a plethora of websites. So when a lot of times when people have buy a website in an auction, if they see that that website has X amount of traffic, say we know for a fact 1,000 people go to that website every single day or every single week or every single month, whatever. Essentially how it works is if you put these display ads up, every time somebody clicks on that display ad, you get paid. So, for instance, with me, with the goodrestaurants.com, before I actually sold it, for the first like 5 or 6 months, I actually made it a display ad directory where I was adding different types of restaurant display ads on my website, and the clicks, it made me like 400 or 500 bucks a month, which that's cool. But you also have to factor in the fact that I also have like 15 other websites. So just to be able to make that off that website, and I wasn't really putting none into it besides what I did off the auction, it was cool. I spent 3,200 for that particular domain name, just based off what I got with clicks. I pretty much made my money back. But once I sold it, because I was still generating a lot of traffic, I actually sold it for 5 grand. So I turned a $5,000 profit just because I made my money back based off when I was doing the display ads. So those are the two main ways where you can actually make money from buying these domain names. But it's important to make sure you know the value of it before you even get into the, simply just due to the fact that you don't want to be sitting on some website that nobody's going to go to and nobody's going to buy. Now, in terms of where the best places to actually get these auctions, go to these auctions at, I wrote down a couple websites. Cedo is actually the main one. Cedo is probably the best website. That's SEDO.com. If you go to that website, they probably have the most domain names, even probably more than GoDaddy, to be honest. GoDaddy is just a more popular name. But Cedo, I believe it's like a one-time charge of 60 bucks. I mean, and at the end of the day, if you're buying something for 3 grand that could possibly double you up or just make a profit from, 60 bucks ain't shit. So, $60, and that'll give you access to their auctions, and their auctions are every single day. Main things to look for in terms of domain names, obviously the value. Just a rule of thumb: if you can get a domain name with the least amount of letters as possible, it's going to hold more value. So if you can get a www.a.com or b.com, these domain names are worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, obviously the least amount of letters, the better. And then obviously, something that's relevant to what's going on out here. So, food, travel, things that actually matter. Don't just look for XYZQGR, and just because it says it has a high value that you buy it, because you have to ask yourself, who's actually going to buy this domain name? Like, is it something that people are actually looking for in terms of a name, or is it just some random ass motherfucking name that looks like it has a lot of value because it may have generated traffic? Because you also have to ask yourself, how did that traffic come? So those are the things to really keep in mind. But Cedo.com and namejet.com. Name jet, like jet, flying in the air, jet. These are the two websites that I would definitely recommend looking into in terms of buying domain names. They do auctions every single day, and there's it shows you what their value of the website is, and then once again, you can always go to these other appraisal sites like GoDaddy, like Flippa, and like Cedo, who can actually tell you exactly why the traffic is what it is, exactly why the value of it is what it is. Like I said, these websites are not free, but it's almost just like investing into anything else. Long term, it's going to pay out, and really, you could probably make that money back off the first flip. Not every website is 3,000, 5,000. You can get some of them for 300 and sell them for 1,000. You can get some of them for 100 and sell them for 500. So no matter what, that's like my biggest thing, is just really look into that. Um, Niggas don't really pay no attention to this. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, black people, we ain't got no insight on this type of shit. I learned this shit from a white boy who, the only reason why I learned it from him is because we had a business, and obviously once we sold the business, I don't really be around him like that. But me being around him, he worked at GoDaddy, so he was actually putting me hip when he was in the middle of these auctions. And I watched him buy a domain name that was worth $100,000 for 6 grand. You know what I'm saying? And he ended up selling it for like 40, 50 grand. You know what I'm saying? So just, it's something to look into, y'all. Investment don't gotta always be about stocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to, gradually start speaking about different types of investments, really, as I learn them. Because, I've been doing the domain name shit for like 3 or 4 years, but a lot of these things that I'm giving to y'all, I'm receiving it as well. So it's not like I'm some fucking guru that been doing this shit for years. I'm learning it, I'm applying it, and if I'm succeeding from it, I'm going to tell y'all how to do it as well. And that's what really it's all about. Each one teach one. So any questions about the domain name shit? try to explain it as much as possible. And this obviously these lives will be available on the YouTube page. So if you want to watch this later on, just so you can remember what websites to go to. But just as a reminder, Cedo, if you go through Cedo, Cedo will give you everything you need. SEDO.com. If you can get in Cedo.com, it's going to give you everything you need from how do you contact the people to sell it. So the good thing about a website like Cedo is you don't have to contact people to sell it. They're actually going to handle that for you. It's not just about buying domain names, but they also have brokers that'll help you sell it as well. So Cedo is actually the best website out of all these websites. They have the most domain names in terms of options to buy. They have the option to buy, and they're not all auctions. They just have expired domains where they're just expired, and you just get them. You know what I'm saying? So not everything is part of an auction, but yeah. So a website like Cedo, they do it all for you. They help you buy it, but they also help you sell it as well. I believe it's a small little piece that you get taken out for selling it, or ultimately, if you want to, you can just submit it on websites like GoDaddy. And there's a way where if you set up an account with GoDaddy that you can actually you know, place it yourself to where you don't have to deal with the middleman. So you can do that too. So ultimately, you can either do it yourself through platforms like GoDaddy, or you have a website like Cedo, where really, if you pay that one-time charge, they'll handle all that shit for you. And if you don't know how to sell domain names, if you don't know where to go, a lot of times with people, if you know the specific company that you got the domain name from, then you can just hit them straight up yourself. Like for the dude, the fucking loser who got the GoDaddy account, who not GoDaddy, but Google account, where he only sold it for like 10, 15, 20,000, some weirdo shit. Domain name is worth over $1 million fucking bucks. He just reached out to him directly. So you can do that. And you can actually go to websites like Cedo and see when the domain name is expiring. So if you know, like, hey, this shit is expiring in 15 minutes or 15 days, and you just buy that bitch immediately, you can actually these companies up, because a lot of times, unless they have the same IT director throughout the entire process, these big companies don't even know when their expiration date is coming. That happens a lot. So you can buy that domain name and just hit them niggas up like, hey, bro, I got your shit. What you want for it? So that's a way to do it. But ultimately, websites like Cedo.com, they can handle that shit for you. How do you go about selling it? Okay, why I answered that same question. So the selling it part isn't really that hard if you find an irrelevant domain name, because more people are building websites than ever. The biggest thing is making sure that you finding the right domain name before you sell it. That's the harder part. Just making sure that you finding some shit that you're gonna be able to get off. Once again, the least amount of letters possible, the better. If you can, but it's gonna be nearly impossible to find some shit like that unless you're on it, damn near like how you on stocks. But man, websites like Cedo, man, they have tremendous website domain names like every single day that you would never think about. Legal stick up. I don't know what that means. What that mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, legal stick up. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, for real. No, that's exactly what it is. I'm my bad, man. See, that's what happens when you're doing this while you're talking. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a stick up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, hey, nigga, I got it. You thought you had it, but you ain't got it. Check your website. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a good way to do business, especially if you're dealing with a company that's actually profitable. Like I said, that dude, and you can look up this article yourself. That whoever did that Google shit, man, I don't know what that nigga was thinking about. Like, he sold that shit for 5 figures. Google, Google is a $1 billion company. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have sold that bitch for 20 million. Because what Google gonna do? Do another Google? Like, like they can't. Their name is Google, so they needed that domain name. So I don't know what he was thinking. He probably never seen 10 grand before, which whatever, to each his own. But he is stupid ass nigga, man. Don't let me get Google.com. You'll see what happens. I don't get it. But yeah, so that's really the biggest thing, man. And believe it or not, man, if you are on top of this on a daily basis, at least one time a day, you're going to come across a domain website where it's like, whoa, what the fuck is this doing here? Make sure you find the dot coms because dot coms hold the most weight. Uh, dot nets are cool if it's a strong name. It has to be some shit like, Las Vegas type shit. It has to be something that's really worth. That's how Google got hit up for 22K. Yeah, see, 22 fucking thousand. You feel me? Like it's a fucking joke. You know what I'm saying? Like who would, I don't know. I don't even keep dwelling on that. But in terms of the domain names, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Once again, uh the top appraisal sites, and once again, you can Google this yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can Google top domain name appraisal sites. There's a lot of review sites, but you'll always see Cedo and Flippa at the top. Like no matter what site you go to, those are going to be the main sites that you guys are going to see in terms of finding the value of it. Like finding like I don't know the people who's ever flipped cars before because that's something that I get into as well, and we'll talk about that another day as well in terms of like the business of flipping whips. But flipping domain names is kind of like flipping whips. And if you flip a whip, you have to check that Kelly Blue Book value on that motherfucker before you put a bid in on it to make sure you know what your potential profit is. When it comes to domain name, you're probably never going to hit that top profit. You know what I'm saying? Just because that's what negotiations are all about. But it's important to know it so you can know your window. So don't bid too high if the motherfucker's only worth X amount of money because nobody really everyone even wants to pay that. But nobody will ever pay more unless it's a company like Google, which in that case he probably could have got anything he wanted. Um, yeah, but play around with that valuation tool, man. If you have a website, if you have some type of company, look up your own website because it'll let you know what your website is worth. Like my nonprofit, I just looked it up. I bought it for $9 just based on my traffic. It's worth like $800 now. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a website, look that up. But once again, the appraisal sites are GoDaddy, Flippa, and Cedo. The top auction sites are GoDaddy. Really, the top auction site is Cedo and NameJet, and then I would say GoDaddy is probably third. So Cedo can really take care of everything for y'all. So I don't want to beat a dead horse. That's pretty much it. Keep an eye out on the vaccine stocks. It may not shoot up this year, but that could be a benefit. It could be an opportunity to get in something for cheap. I don't know what the earning potential of it is, but there will be if you're talking about the entire country. Minus niggas like me and you going to get vaccines. You know what I'm saying? That's still hundreds of millions of people. So if they're only going through two companies, I got to assume both of those companies are going to reap the benefits at some point in time. So just keep an eye on it. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm just telling you to do your research. And tomorrow we'll be on the same shit. Hopefully we get closer to this stimulus talk. We're hopefully we get closer to it. Like I don't give a fuck about the money, but I know what that's going to do for the economy, which in essence is going to benefit the stock. So y'all know the drill. Make sure you guys subscribe. Once again, if you guys want to donate towards the nonprofit, if you want to contribute, $ building back, that is going to go towards the three families that we are going to be supporting for Christmas. You can check my Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter to kind of get the details of all the different families that we're going to be helping out. So, all right, niggas, I'll holla at y'all. I got shit to do. Y'all have a good one.